Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Is Larry Lefty McLeod, and we've got the two Johns, Jonathan Grabowski and John Robertson, in the virtual production truck, bringing you all the best camera angles and action that Apex Racing TV is known for. And so after two cracking rounds at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca, our racers have mercifully been given 2 full weeks. We gave them all for Halloween last week. They've been given 2 weeks to head north from the Monterey Peninsula, fight the Bay Area traffic, and set up shop in California wine country's scenic Sonoma Raceway. In its 55th year of operation, this 2.5-mile, 12-turn circuit nestled into the mountains of Sears Point, it's got almost 160 feet of elevation change from its lowest point to its highest. And when you combine its short straights and it's a lack of heavy braking zones, it's gonna maybe make for some compelling racing for NASCAR, but the jury's still out on the other Cup cars, the ones that we have here, the MX-5 Cup cars. And so good evening, Larry, and welcome to the home of the Woolly Weeders.
I am so happy to be here, and I'm just afraid of how many stories you're going to tell me about the sheep behind turn 3.
I'll keep it out.
All right,
keep it to a minimum.
Another exciting night of some great side-by-side race action. I can't wait to get things started.
Yeah, we had the 2 30-minute races at WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. We're going to go back to our single 60-minute race format here this evening, and I think it'll give our drivers a good opportunity to really sense what their competitors, what their compadres are doing right on track and doing wrong on track, because frankly, Larry, this is a very difficult track to pass on, with the elevation changes, constantly switching from on camber to off camber, and really only one heavy braking zone here at the track. You know, I think the passing is going to be at a premium, but let's do this. Let's pass things off to Kevin Ford, and as he does, each and every round for the Ricmotech Classic Sprint Series. He's going to give us tonight's track guide, this time of Sonoma Raceway.
Welcome, everyone, to Sonoma Raceway, located here in Sonoma, California. Great to have you with us today as we provide you your track guide around this 12-turn, 2.5-mile road course. This place is unbelievable to drive, full of undulation, off-camber corners, heavy brake zones. It is a beauty. Here we go. Let's head up the front straightaway here. Actually, there's two parts to this straightaway as we approach turn 12, the final corner on the course here. This will bring us out onto the very short chute front straightaway as we cross the stripe and head down into turn 1. We'll stay wide open here as we come up the hill and set the car up for this very daunting braking into turn 2 here. Off camber corner, want to take a little bit of curb, come right back to throttle. We'll track out off that exit, bring the car back right for a track right entrance into 3 here in 3A. Coming up over this blind exit, does track out all the way to the edge, now down into turn 4. Very tight brake zone once again. We'll track out off this exit and get some good speed here as we head down the hill through turn 5. This will bring us up to the carousel of turn 6. Now this is a downhill left-hander. Very tricky corner to get right. You can feel that car drifting as you come down through the entrance, wide open once again. Coming out off the exit, plenty of room to track out here as we head out onto the drag strip portion of Sonoma. Now back into our road course here. This will bring us into 7. This is a double right-hander. And we get that good early rotation here as you can come to throttle quickly and get a good exit off of 7. Now into the very tricky left and right-handers. Into turn 8 here. We'll let that car slide right up onto that curbing there for the entrance. Back to wide open, up off the exit, down the blind hill. I want to try to keep that car off that sand out there. Now through 9 and into 10. Wide open off this exit. The car is going to drift right out to the edge of the course. And then this will bring us down into the very heavy brake zone of turn 11, the second to final corner here. Nice tight rotation, back to throttle early, up off the exit. This will bring us around that final corner once again of turn 12. And there you go. There's your track guide around the incredible Sonoma Raceway. Thank you for being with us.
It's the same track. All right, so Larry, we've got our drivers getting underway right now, starting their 15-minute qualifying session. And as we do for every round of the Classic Sprint Series, we give our drivers 4 chances, 4 cracks at setting their fast lap and setting the grid for tonight's race. And as we do always, those drivers will have the track all to themselves as they go out and try to set those fast laps. We've got 2 different classes tonight. We've got our Pro category and we've got our AM category driver. And as we watch right now, Chris Thorman out on track in the number 60 D2D iRacing machine. He is one of our Pro category drivers, and you can tell because he's got the red mirrors, the red number board, and also well, he's got the red roll cage there, but I don't think that has anything to do with what class he's in. But as long as you look for those red number boards and red mirrors, you should be good to go. Our AM category drivers, and let's see if we can pick one up here. There's Steve Daniel in the SKKJ Racing number 96 machine. He's one of our AM category drivers, and you can pick the AM drivers out. They've got the green number boards and the green mirrors, as well as I believe the little license plates on the back bumper as well. That's how you'll tell them apart. And in a few moments, we'll bring up our timing tower on the left-hand side of the screen. That timing tower will show the order for both classes as they're out on track. But Larry, real quick, let's take a look back a couple weeks, back to the 17th of October when we ran rounds 4 and 5 of the Classic Sprint Series at Ricmotech Raceway. We'll start off with the AM category, and these were 30-minute races. We inverted the field for the top 7 finishers in our first race, which didn't really affect the majority of our AM category drivers, but taking the win in race number 1 in his very first outing with the Classic Sprint Series. Helder Goncalves out with Tractix Racing. He took the win. Steve Daniel, who we were just watching a few moments ago from SKKJ Racing, finished second in the first race. And then David Payne, also new to the series in the DP Racing Machine, came home in third. And our second race of the evening, Helder Goncalves, he took the win once again, ran the table for the evening. Jeff Cranston finished in second. Steve Daniel came home in third. So two podium finishers for Steve Daniels. And we take a look now at our standings with 5 rounds in the books. Mike Taylor from Frito Sport Racing, he is your current points leader with 102 points, and you see there just 5 points back is his teammate from Frito Sport, Greg Brockway. Jeff Cranston from Craney Customs sitting in third right now, 10 points out of the championship lead, and only 3 points back from there. You've got David Payne, who had that great finish, and then John Casey sitting in 5th position in the points currently. So let's jump over to our pro category, where John Allen started third in our first race at Laguna Seca, back behind Robert Hartley and Mike Dam, the two Orion Racing teammates. They were on the front row. Mike Dam had some trouble early on, fell all the way back in the field. We'll just skip the drama. He finished 9th, but John Allen took the win in the Seamless Racing number 101 machine. Robert Hartley finished 2nd for Orion Racing, and Nate Nicholson came home in 3rd for Delta Sport. And if we then jump over to the second race of the evening, round number 5, it was Robert Hartley and Travis Schwenke, the two Orion Racing teammates, and then Nate Nicholson got his 2nd podium of the night, coming home in 3rd. And so if we take a look at the point standings now in pro, you can see they're pretty darn tight up at the top of the field, with John Allen from Seamless Racing currently at 163 points. He's your championship leader, and only 3 points back to Robert Hartley from Orion. And then it is a long way back, 24 more points till you get to Brennan Horan, who I think is in the YouTube chat right now, actually, instead of qualifying. Travis Schwenke sitting 4th in the championship, another 14 points back from there. And then Chris Thorman from D2D, only 2 points back from Schwenke in 5th position.
Yeah, got some good battles going on, but I think tonight's, as we kind of get into the late in the part of our season here, it's going to be really important to collect some good solid finishes here. No real room for error at this point, but that 2-horse race at the front, John Allen, Rob Hartley, have really had quite the battle going on for most of the season, but we'll see if the likes of Brennan Horn and the others can maybe kind of steal a win here and get back into this.
Yeah, and it's going to be very important to pull some good points here tonight, because we're starting to run out of rounds. We've got the 2 30-minute races in 2 weeks at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, and then we wrap up the season at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. So only 4 rounds remaining. If you count this evening, we're more than halfway through the season. So let's take a quick look here where we stand in qualifying. Is most of our drivers are working on their 3rd flying laps. We've got a few, like Mike Dam was only working on a 2nd, but at the moment Chris Thorman is your provisional pole sitter. He's got a fast time at the moment of a 146.46. That's almost 0.4 of a second up on Mike Dam. But as I say that, Robert Hartley jumps to provisional pole with a 146.24, and it's a little bit off of the fastest times that we saw in practice just before we went on air. John Allen was the fastest driver in practice with a 146.1. If we jump over and take a look at the AM category, Jeff Cranston in the number 97 Craney Customs machine, he is currently your provisional pole sitter in that class with a 147.30. Mike Taylor with a 148 flat, a little bit further back from there. And Larry, of course, the way we're going to be gridding these drivers up for this race, we're not going to be breaking them out by pro and by AM. It's going to be by best time. And as it stands right now, Jeff Cranston is 6th fastest on track. Mikey Taylor would start 2 rows back. He's currently 10th fastest.
Yeah, that always makes a big difference in the NAM category when there's that split between who the top couple of qualifiers, if they're not bunched up. It really does give an advantage right now to Cranston to have maybe a couple of rows actually between he and Taylor at the start of this race could make a difference. As we know, we talked about already how difficult it is to pass around Sonoma. And the first laps can be a little chaotic, so it might be an opportunity for Cranston to sort of put some daylight between. And also, we've talked to Cranston before. He does play a bit of a conservative game. So having some room there between allows him to be even more conservative. He doesn't need to be as aggressive at the start. Puts the pressure on Payne and Taylor and the other guys behind him.
All right, and so as you talk about David Payne, we've got him on track right now. He has now moved up to second fastest in the AM category, currently running 11th overall, time now of a 147.97. So just about 7/10 of a second, almost 7/10 off of Cranston's best time, as we now have Mike Dam as our new provisional pole sitter. And he's got a 146.20 in the books. And as we're starting to see these drivers get some heat in their tires, and as Larry alluded to a little bit earlier, the thing that you're going to see here, I mean, the first lap or two laps definitely very chaotic. Especially making that huge run out of turn 1 up to turn 2 on the very first lap. That is and you saw this on Kevin Ford's track guide, it is a 120-foot rise there from turn 1 up to the crest at the top of turn 2, where the track then flattens off, and you have a little bit of off-camber track there on exit. And when you go 2x2 up there, inevitably at least one or two drivers find their way into the dirt. So let's see here, and it looks as though now Robert Hartley, who we're on track with at the moment from Orion Racing, looking to put in a fast lap. He comes out of the kink by turn 10 behind that drag strip tower and goes into the hairpin over at turn 11. Right up kissing that wall. Driver's left as he comes through that tiny little kink at the end to come across the line. Can he improve on a 146.24 and maybe get to his teammate? Let's take a look as he crosses the line, a 146.335 that last time by, so he does not improve on his previous best. And time now starting, we've still got a lot of time. We've still got about 5 minutes left to go in qualifying, but the number of laps that these drivers have left are definitely heading down. Let's take a look now at our current pro category championship leader, John Allen from Seamless Racing, as he's getting a lot of slip angle there, coming out of turn 10, back behind the drag strip tower and under braking into the hairpin. And he is currently sitting 4th fastest overall. Again, he was our fastest driver in practice, and he doesn't get a good exit out of the hairpin, but he's going to try and make the best of it. Let's see if he can improve on that 148.02. And as he crosses the line, John Allen, he turns in a 46.282. That's now going to move him up to 3rd, so he picks up a position. He's also got one final flying lap that he can put in. Mike Dam is on his final flying lap. Mike Dam may be able to, and Mike Dam has gone into the pits, called off his last lap, and John Allen, he's got the rear end of that Mazda all over the place, going through turn 3A. Then he drops down that right-hand turn into turn 4, and you can see as they come now down into the carousel, and this is where Kevin Ford in his track guide was saying it's so difficult here. If you keep the car nice and tight to the inside, like John Allen was doing, you can see how loose the car can get on exit. But if you don't do that and you keep the car maybe a little bit wider on entry to that carousel section, you can see the rear end of the car slip out, and not uncommon to see drivers off in the dirt. Drivers right to the outside. So it's it's this risk and reward. It's always a trade-off whether the car is stable going into the carousel, and we'll see how the 57 Edgar Sanchinelli, currently running 10th fastest overall, 9th in pro. How he handles it is he now drops down into that carousel, and it's just always the question: do you set the car up and do you enter that corner so that it's loose on entry but tight on exit, or well, do you have the car slide around all over the place mid corner and coming out of the corner as well, as we just saw from Edgar. Now Edgar is working his 3rd flying lap. Again, we give our drivers 4 flying laps in order to set a fast lap. John Allen just now finishing up his last flying lap. Don't think he's going to improve, but and indeed he doesn't. He puts in a 150.27 there on his last flying lap, so it looks like he's going to have to be content with 3rd is the best that he can do as we continue to track now Nick Parsono in the NAP Motorsports number 79 machine. He is currently sitting 11th, sitting at the tail end of the AM category field right now, looking to improve his best lap so far, 152.79, currently about 2 seconds off of Robert Brist, who is sitting 10th in class. And so we'll see here as Parsono working his 3rd flying lap, and again he gets 4. We'll see if he can move up in the order here in AM.
Yeah, this is one of those places where qualifying is just so critical. It's really tough to pass. This opening lap is going to be pretty amazing. You and I, we've watched our share of Miata races here, and your best shot is that lap 1. I hate to say it, but you got to make the pass on lap 1 if you want to try and get an easy position. That side-by-side going to turn 2 is always going to be crucial, but it is not impossible to pass around here, especially at the type of speeds that these cars tend to carry, and as well as all the undulations that allow for mistakes by drivers that you can capitalize on. That certainly, as you talked about, going into the carousel in 6 being one of them. Sometimes you can make a dive bomb move going into 7. I've seen moves going into 4 even, which is a little bit of a downhill, probably the hardest corner on the track. So, you know, while it's not impossible, it certainly is a lot easier to pick one up either in qualifying, just out qualify the guys, or maybe try and get a cheap spot here on the opening lap. But it could be a bit chaotic, as tight and twisty as this place is on the opening lap.
Yeah, I think it's all once we get to the point where the green flag flies, I think it's all about being opportunistic, wary, and just being able to capitalize on the mistakes of the drivers ahead of you. It is that difficult to make passes, and as you said, you know, I think the first couple of corners are going to be key, whether drivers can keep those cars on course up at the top of turn 2 when they come through 3A and start to make the run down the 4. We see so many drivers that run wide coming out of 3A and get into the dirt and just never even get the 4 because they're looping the car around. But we've got our drivers now, Larry. They are gridding up for tonight's 60-minute race to the checkered flag here from Sonoma Raceway, and let's give everybody the starting grid. Starting first tonight on pole, in the number 93 Orion Racing Machine with a pole time of 146.204. It's Mike Dam. His Orion Racing teammate Robert Hartley, he's going to start on the outside of row number 2. He was only 33 thousandths off the pole. John Allen, our championship leader from Seamless Racing, will start on the inside of row number 2 with Chris Thorman from D2D Racing starting 4th. Travis Schwenke will start 5th tonight with David Payton from D2D Racing starting in 6th. Greg Mack will start 7th this evening with the Craney Customs entry of Jeffrey Cranston. He's your AM category pole sitter. He's going to start 8th tonight. Brennan Horn from D2D Racing, he'll start 9th in the number 45 machine, while Edgar Sanchinelli will start 10th. On the inside of row number 6, we've got David Payne from DP Racing. He's going to start 2nd in the AM category, with Mike Taylor starting right beside him.
Yeah, on row 7, Steve Daniel, SKKJ Racing, lined up alongside John Casey in 046 Racing. On row 8, Eric Kleister from the Scuderia Tartaruga is going to be alongside Frito Sport Racing's Greg Brockway. On row 9, Paul Carrier from Carrier Racing, alongside Nick Parsono in NAP Motorsports. And then finally on row 10, Patrick Provenus in the Frito Sport Racing entry alongside Robert Brist in his familiar RFC Racing entry.
All right, and we're getting ready to go here from Sonoma Raceway, track that was first opened December 1st, 1968. So we're coming up on the birthday right now, and you know, back in 1994, huge we'll call it a beautification project that they undertook here, about $1 million to really clean up the facility, as Speedway Motorsports came in, and I guess that was Speedway Motorsports. I think that's Humpy Wheeler, if I remember correctly, came in, and probably not Humpy Wheeler, that's Bruton Smith, that came in there back in 1996 to purchase the track. But we're underway here with our pace lap, and again, this
it really
is
yeah. You know, you really talk about the facility, the beautification. It is a really beautiful facility. Obviously, it's surrounded by the vineyards, the wine country up here north of San Francisco. But you know, even this sort of dirt, turf, whatever, it works really well in this beautiful rolling valley just at the north end of the bay there. And there hardly is a bad seat in the house. You can even see that the hillsides are built in concrete, or I guess stone block grandstand.
Yeah, I think probably the most difficult part of the track to see is actually right here down into the carousel for some portions of the course. But they've got, you can see as the drivers come out of the carousel, all of the stands there off to their right, and then up on the hill at the top of turns 2 and 3, you just look down on the whole course. It is absolutely gorgeous.
I'd love to go back by that backstretch there near those S's. There's a couple of motorhome camper spots up on the hill there. Great place to watch, because you can see across to the area around start finish all the way up into 2, and then you can of course see this section here that we're showing, looking down through these S's. It's just, there's hardly a bad seat in the place. It's absolutely gorgeous. You and I are there for the runoffs back in 18, and just a spectacular venue. Not the easiest place to pass, but it is such a beautiful venue, an absolutely gorgeous place for racing. If you can get there, let's just say the highways leading to it aren't exactly the most broad and traffic friendly.
That's right. Just because you have to drive through the heart of San Francisco has nothing to do with it at all.
Let's just say you have to leave at 4:30 in the morning from the town just across the east from here in order to get there. Otherwise, you try to go across that Causeway Bridge at 6 a.m. and it's pretty hectic. But we are about to have hectic traffic here for Classic Sprint. Indeed,
we are, as the pace car is on that very long pit lane. And we'll talk about pit strategies a little bit later, but that entrance to the pits goes all the way around the outside of the hairpin. Is a long way, and we've got an early green flag, Larry. Racing is underway here from Sonoma Raceway as our real live starter gives the command to go, and coming through turn 1, starting to head up the hill, we've got the 2 Orion Racing teammates. To driver's left is Mike Dam, to driver's right is Robert Hartley, and as they come over the crest of the hill through turn 2, it is Mike Dam, then Hartley, then John Allen, and the Seamless Racing Machine is side by side with Chris Thorman, and he edges by Thorman going into turn number 3. Thorman's going to drop into 4th, and Schwenke, Patton, Greg Mack as they come down under braking the first time, going down into turn number 4. And Larry, I think almost all of our drivers made it through that critical first section.
Curse. Don't say it, because it'll happen. But you're right. I think at least the first 4 corners looked pretty good there. Amazing work by the drivers to stay side by side and start to filter things out as they came through 2, 3, and to 4. But here, as you can see, through this middle stretch, heading up towards 7 already, there's some bump drafting going on. Middle of the pack, Brennan Horn, one of them.
And here we go. Yes, Horn already getting a little racy, and we'll see here. I've noticed, Larry, last couple of races here, if drivers go into turn number 7, that double apex right-hander, sometimes opening the corner up a little bit and not going towards that second apex is actually a little faster through there. But right now, side by side, Dam and Hartley, the 2 Orion Racing teammates, coming through the S's, coming through turn 9 as they come to that kink at turn 10, right behind the drag strip tower. And wow, you can see John Allen hanging the rear out all the way, and he gets around Robert Hartley, and I believe now
so did Thorman.
Yeah, Thorman. And for a moment there, Thorman had worked his way up to 2nd, but pushing the car all the way down the inside as Robert Hartley and Mike Dam, and Dam works his way back into the lead now, and it is going to be at the end of lap number 1. Mike Dam, your leader, John Allen, Robert Hartley. Then we've got Thorman and Schwenke rounding out the top 5. We've got 3 of the Orion Racing teammates in our top 5.
What work there for John Allen to stay side by side. He was trying to nestle himself somewhere between the Orion boys, managed to do it as they come down to the S's, gets to the outside of Hartley, and then was able to hold it. But when they got down to the hairpin at 11, had to continue to work the outside line to get the run, and finally going back up the hill towards 2 was able to take that second place spot. But talk about work. It took him 5 quarters to finally make the pass. Yeah, that doesn't get any harder than that. So now he's well, maybe have a chance to do it with only one of the Orion drivers, the Mike Dam, in front of him. But Hartley's not going to let them go. Hartley's going to be right on his tail, and Thorman and Schwenke are right there as well to make this a 5-car pack. I think we're going to be seeing this train look like this for the next probably 30 laps or so.
Yeah, and so, Larry, we've talked in the last couple of rounds about some of the changes that have been made early on in this iRacing season to the Mazda MX-5s, and maybe they don't have the ultimate grip that they used to have, and the tire feel is a little different. The drivers have obviously had a considerable amount of time to work on their setups, but as you watch Edgar Sancinelli, drifting over the top of turn 8 there, I mean, you have to wonder, and there's Sancinelli still
more drift than he wanted.
Yeah, going out into the dirt there at turn number 10. Sancinelli now falling down into 9th position. He's still trying to gather that car up through the hairpin. That just seems to be a hateful setup. But this track here, it's not quite the low grip asphalt that they saw at Laguna Seca a couple weeks ago, but there's still not a ton of grip here, and certainly it doesn't take much with these camber changes. If you get into the dirt just off the pavement, it's real hard to get back underway. That's
part of the challenge here is, you climb that hill towards turn 2 and everything's good, but then you get the dip and the rise through 3, and then you come down here into 4, this right-hander, and it's all off camber, it's all downhill, and the car just doesn't want to stick, and it doesn't want to plant, and you end up off in the grass, or the dirt, I should say, off to track left. Luckily, not too many have done that, but as you saw, Sancinelli had the same problem coming down to that kink at 10, just couldn't quite keep it together, and as it just, like you said, could not contain it, even all the way down in through the hairpin at 11. It was still struggling with the car. That's how difficult this place is. It's just everything's connected. Everything is just in really close quarters, and if you don't get it under control early, the car will just continue to walk and make it hard for you to get it back, and you'll lose 3-4 spots before you even know it.
Yeah, you're always fighting the car, trying to bring it back, because the corners, they don't stop. You don't really have a lot of, other than that one little short straightaway coming out of the carousel, going up to 7, and coming out of this kink here, going down into the hairpin. You don't really have much time when you're not sawing at the wheel here at Sonoma.
Yeah, the longest stretch is from right here of just kind of wide open throttle, but like you said, you're never really straight. You come out of the hairpin, you start bending around this wall that you can't really see over, and then you go underneath the starter stand, but you keep bending and bending and bending, and the whole time you're trying to keep the car to track left, which is right there by that pit exit, to hold yourself going up the hill and under the bridge, but you never have a chance to just sort of reset your hands, reset your brain. You're constantly fighting the car to get it to one side of the track or the other. Makes this place such a challenge. In a way, it's got kind of that Mid-Ohio feel to it in some respects, where it just undulates and undulates, and you're fighting to the apex, and the car wants to walk, and it's part of the deal around here. But at least Mid-Ohio's got the long backstretch. You don't really even have that here at Sonoma.
No. No, you don't. And so, I'm starting, I'm wondering, as we're watching many of these drivers really tossing these cars around and getting much larger slip angles than perhaps I would have suspected this early on, I'm starting to wonder how, once we get towards the end of 60 minutes, because I would think that the majority of these drivers are not going to be taking tires during their pit stops, but what kind of rides are they going to have underneath them at the end? If they're fighting the cars now, and if they're fighting the circuit now, what happens in another 50 minutes or so?
We've seen that in this series a lot where drivers will try taking the 4 tires and the time penalty is just pretty severe, especially the tracks are difficult to pass around here. You can get away with 2. The question becomes if you're only going to do 2, which 2? Yes, it's
Which
a right-handed
2?
track,
Yes.
but the hardest corner on tires is the left-hander carousel. So maybe because of that, the tire wear is a little bit more even. You don't need to take 2, and maybe that's what we'll see here, when we get to that midway point and people start to do their pit stops. But boy, you can see around that turn 10 kink how difficult it is to keep the car in check there, as we just had Steve Daniel, and I want to say it was John Casey behind him, struggling to keep their cars on the track. And even here, trying to keep it under him, coming around the hairpin. But boy, just so much difficulty here with just car control, trying to keep the thing pointed where you want it to be.
Yeah, and Larry, as we're watching and going up through the field here, and we have a number of different pairings, this great little battle going on with Steve Daniel currently running 4th in AM, John Casey running 5th in AM. We've got 3 cars all nose to tail up ahead, and just ahead of this battle is the battle for the lead in AM, Jeff Cranston and Mike Taylor, and we've got Sancinelli in that group as well, but really tight running here in both categories. And as I take a look at the gaps between the drivers, I mean, we're looking at still the top 4 drivers are separated out by maybe a second and a half or so.
The top 5 are 2 seconds, and it's a second down the order. Top 8 or 5 seconds. But I gotta say that so far early in the race, Mike Taylor's done a good job of doing what he did to do early in the race, which is pick up a couple of spots, put the pressure on Cranston. Now, yes, they are a couple seconds apart still. There's a gap of daylight there, but for Taylor, it means he doesn't have any traffic to contend with. He can just focus on that Cranston car, the Craney Customs out in front of him, to try and close that gap, but he knows that he's 1 position back. That's a good thing for him. Cranston, though, on the other hand, boy, that's a running wide. Is that Schwenke?
I think that was running off there. I believe that was a 16 of Schwenke. And
he's doing it again.
Yeah, and as we said, the exact same thing coming through turn 10. We saw Edgar Sancinelli do the same thing just a few laps ago, and now he does get it under control going through the hairpin, but he's lost a ton of time, almost 2 full seconds back to Chris Thorman in that group ahead.
It's brought him right into the grips there of David Payton and Brennan Horan in the 6th and 7th spots. So he's got to work again. But, that's the way this track is. You start coming through those S's, and again, they're undulating. The bottoms drop out of them, and if you start getting out of that rhythm and chuck the car, it's going to slide. Off he went at 9, carried it through 10, same thing. Was able to keep it in check with only losing 2 seconds, but that's a lot of time loss you can see there. He was up in that top 5 pack there, but now he's 2 seconds back and got a little work to do. Got a nice little train, though, if you think for where he's at in 5th. Peyton, Horan, Mack, and Cranston all behind him. Cranston, the leader in the AM category, wants to stick with this pack as best he can, but he's happy that he's got about a 4-second lead. He doesn't want Schwenke to slow down again because that'll take all 4 of them behind him down with him.
All right, so Larry, let's take a quick look back and see where things got all crossed up for Travis Schwenke here. As you'll see the replay in that large box in the screen. Still got the live action underneath, and you can see there got a little bit of curbing, goes out, and as he tries to dial it back in,
just no grip. Still got some of that Northern California nice friendly grape soil, not so good for grip, as he's still trying to get it under containment there. Finally, by the time he gets to 11 at the hairpin, he's got it, but not before he's lost that 2 seconds.
Yeah, and wow, and you can see there back in live action, going through that section of track again, he's still having issues over there. Just one more time around is really throws the car out wide, and now look, a great little battle going on right here as we've got David Payne coming down to the inside on Sancinelli.
Yeah, it's a great little move there. Saw just a moment of Sancinelli's hesitation coming through that kink, was able to get up alongside him and outbrake him, and now he just wants to hold position ahead of Sancinelli. Good pass there for David Payne.
Yeah, and Payne, who's running 3rd in AM, that now puts him right back behind Mike Taylor in the battle for 2nd in category.
And that's where he needs to be now. What he needs to do is just start pushing Taylor, because they've got about a 5-second gap now down to Cranston, the leader in AM. Cranston, a nice, good conservative driver, being smart, latched onto a train. But look at these guys. They need to pick up the pace, and I'm wondering if Taylor's going to get, or Payne, sorry, is going to get a little bit aggressive here to try to get up under Taylor and maybe lead this pack if he can.
you know, it was a great little view there, Larry, as they come through 3 and 3A to see how they crest that top of the hill, and then it just drops away as you head down into turn 4.
Such a roller coaster. Yeah,
Oh
the
my
bottom
gosh.
just drops out like the first big drop at you know, one of them Cedar Point rides. But that's the way this thing is. If you don't turn in at the right point, that bottom still drops.
Yeah,
and when it does,
you end up drivers left.
yeah, you end up way off track. But he was able to keep it contained. His problem was he had a Mike Taylor in front of him that he needed to contend with as well. And I'm thinking now he would like to get past Taylor for that reason alone, that he could pick his own lines and pick his own approaches and not have to worry about a car in front of him at the place he really needs the car to be.
Yeah, and you can see Sancinelli. He's trying to find a way forward as well. Sancinelli sitting right in the middle of this AM category field, and he went to make a move on Payne going into turn 7. Wasn't quite close enough. We'll see if he pokes to the inside, and again, not quite close enough. But I'm certain that this is wreaking havoc on Steve Daniels' race right now. Oh!
It's Taylor into the wall.
Yeah, little tap of the wall there from Taylor, and we saw Payne go to avoid. We then saw Sancinelli have to jump out to driver's right to avoid, and now as they go through turn 1 and head up the hill, Sancinelli looks like he might find a way past Payne. He does, and somehow with all of that, somehow Mikey Taylor holds on.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I think what may have happened there is Payne was able, looked like he had a run, was going to be able to get past Taylor, but I think he started driving his mirrors, and I don't want to say blocking, but he was certainly making it hard for Steve Daniel to get a move. And when he did, he let Sancinelli duck up the outside and now have the inside for 2. Payne might have wanted to just focus on that throttle and keeping the wheel straight, because these cars, when you turn the wheel, they do slow down. They don't have the power to overcome that. And I think he just found that out the hard way, going around the starter stand, giving up that spot. No, it's not for position in class, but it is a track position, and that means now he's got a pro class car in between he and his AM category contender.
Yeah, and that also maybe makes things a little bit easier now for Steve Daniel as well, whereas Daniel just a moment ago was looking at the back of the number 57 machine, and he can now find his way up onto the podium here. Obviously a little early for that, but let's jump forward a little bit and to our AM category leader. That's Jeff Cranston, being followed here by Greg Mack. This is the battle for 8th overall.
There's a little bit of gap starting to form, though, from Cranston up ahead of him to Brennan Horan, allowing Greg Mack to maybe start to use some of that draft to his advantage. He still has to find a way past, but Cranston, maybe he's seeing the gap growing behind him to Taylor and Payne, now up to 8 seconds, and he could be a little more conservative, but he may not want to be too conservative, because he starts getting in a battle with Greg Mack, and that could cost him a lot of time.
Well, and coming out of the hairpin area, it looked like a redo of the lap before, as they were 2 by 2. But this time, Sancinelli's able to pick off one more car, move Sancinelli up to 10th overall. He's 9th in pro, but he gets ahead of that AM category battle for 2nd. And looks like now Payne poke to the inside on the 57 car, or pardon me, on the 66 car.
Yeah, Sancinelli did a good job of seeing mistakes happening and getting by, which is what Payne should have done the lap before. Sancinelli finding a way to do it. Payne now back now on the tail of Taylor. Probably needs to try finding it. And Taylor giving all sorts of opportunities for everyone around him. Now going wide, coming off a 6, allowing Payne to duck inside. Who said this track was hard to pass? It's pretty easy when your competitors are using dirt for grip.
Yeah. Exactly. All right, so there you go. Mike Taylor now losing a position to David Payne to move Payne up to 11th overall, and Steve Daniel for a moment there looked like he was going to be able to get underneath the Frito Sport Racing number 66 machine as they come down through the S's here through turns 8 and 9.
So much drift and slide. You can see how early they have to turn the wheel to get the rotation, to get the weight transfer, to let the car plant going through that kink. Not easy at all. That's Greg Mack, and then number 2 looks like coming into the hairpin or out of the hairpin.
Yeah, it looks like and I'm wondering if he had just gone around or maybe got tapped in there, but he was in that infield area down by the start line for the drag strip. Hopefully we can pull that up and see exactly what happened.
Yeah, remember, he was up chasing Jeff Cranston up there for 7th overall. Now he finds himself with 3 seconds back, so I'm wondering if maybe he tapped that wall or had a bit of a spin going in or out of the hairpin. And boy, talk about back out of recovery mode. Now he's got some work to do.
Yeah, he's got, just as he was closing things down on Jeff Cranston, he loses a position to David Payton, and he's fallen further back. Now, Larry, looks like maybe Greg Mack having some problems with that car, as we can see him now conceding positions to Sancinelli, to Payne, to Taylor, to Daniel as well.
Trying to see if he's got any bit of damage on there, like having rubbed a wall or rubbed one of those barrels at the hairpin, because they do not give. I don't see any damage though, but I do know from experience they do not take kindly to. You think, oh, they're just a pylon or a little barrel, they'll move, but no, unfortunately they don't. But I think we may have a replay queued up. We can take a look at.
Yeah, let's see exactly what happened to Greg Mack here. All right, so we've got Payton, and then we've got Greg Mack right behind him, and I'm still trying to see what he did. Did he tap the wall? Oh,
that's the a little
Payton
aggressive on the exit.
Around.
Dueling spins, same shot even, as both of them do the same thing, getting aggressively on the gas with the sliding car. Didn't make contact, so that's good. So no damage to the cars, but so no need to pit. But speaking of pits, I'm seeing activity.
Yep, Robert Hartley in the pits, Greg Mack in the pits as well. So maybe Greg thinking that he does have a little bit of damage to the car. But Robert Hartley, our first driver to bring his car into the pit, and I guess, Larry, now would be as good a time as any to talk about pit windows here. As I
think we're in it.
Yeah, I think we are. So this race should go. We're on lap 11 right now with our leaders. Race should go somewhere probably with the times that our drivers are running around 33 laps. Our drivers can probably only get somewhere around 24, 25, 26 laps on a tank of gas.
This is going to be fascinating. So Hartley comes in all by himself, no one around him. There are only 20 cars on track tonight, which means we're not looking at the longest train here. There's a lot of daylight. I'm looking at it. He has got 6 seconds of gap in front of him before he's going to see any other driver. So that's good. That means he's got daylight to now set his own pace. He might have been thinking an undercut here could work well if he feels that Mike Dam, his teammate, and John Allen may be fighting it out up front. Hartley taking a bit of the off maneuver. Sometimes I don't like the strategy because you end up getting stuck behind some back marker traffic. But I'm thinking Hartley's spotter told him the right move based on where he would come out. That crew chief working hard tonight, and he's able to find himself some daylight. And he'll have a couple of cars. He's got Brockway and Paul Carey about 5 seconds in front of him. He'll have to navigate through them. But good move. Very interesting here for Hartley. We'll have to keep our eye on him.
Yeah, much earlier. And we typically see at least some of the Orion racers pitting in using similar pit strategies. I think Mike Dam is typically the one that runs a slightly different strategy than Schwenke and than Schwenke and Hartley. But yeah, Hartley now sitting all by himself. They're able to just put his head down and not have to worry about traffic. Mike Dam, at the moment, not so lucky. Dam is still under pressure from John Allen as we drop a little bit further back in the order here. And this is Nick Parsono in the number 14 machine, and he's got Paul Carey in the 141 right behind him. Parsono, remember, was qualified tail end of the AM category. He's already made up 4 positions at this point. Paul Carey has made up 2, both of them having gotten around, I think, Greg Brockway. And so
so actually, I think for them, they may also have gotten past Rob Hartley and Greg Mack, who might have pitted, but that's fine. They're in a good little battle, good little scrap here through this point of the race, as these two trying to fight for positions in that AM category. As they get down the order there, it's a pretty tight among them. And but I know that at some point they're probably going to have a very speedy Rob Hartley tracing between them. So they'll have to keep their mirrors on that as he's about 5 seconds in the rears to them. And there's a good shot of that number 3, Mr. Hartley.
Yeah, and given the time that he was in the pit stall area, I don't think he took any tires. I didn't see the car.
Did not appear that way, no.
Yeah, it didn't look like the car popped up on the jack. So you know, we'll have to see if some of these other drivers keep that same strategy. Now, I've been watching a little bit as we jump back to this battle for the lead between Mike Dam and John Allen. That Dam's still having some issues with grip and maybe a little. He's not having trouble
like
rotating the car. Yeah, exactly, like that. And I would say another trouble spot for him that I've seen a couple of laps is actually turn 7, where John Allen seems a little bit more tidy coming through there and getting a run. As Lowe looks like, let's see here. I was showing that Mike Taylor might have impacted a wall here, and now he's driving all by himself and is falling a little bit back through the field. Maybe we'll be able to pick up and see what happened. Yeah, let's see. I think we've got a replay queued up here. Let's take a look at the 66 machine coming down into the hairpin.
On board with him going around that hairpin, and there's that wall again that he has struggled with. I don't see contact this time. We know he has in the past. This time looks like the same thing that happened earlier to Greg Mack. He's able to just spin out and continue, but that definitely lost some really critical track time there.
Yeah, and you can see there as the rear end of the car rotates a little bit, and I think just maybe a little bit too much throttle applied by some of these drivers, and the rear end just kind of walking around. Yeah, the other thing that we typically see, and it's more towards the end of a race, Larry, when the drivers are getting a little tired and maybe not not as focused, we'll say, that they get into those big cement pylons that look like tires.
Oh, I can't wait, because it is so exciting to watch the big giant barrels not move out. The cars take 100% to the beating. So hopefully no one does it. Typically, though, I will say often around here, you'll see that when the right side mirror falls off the car, it's probably because they rubbed it. I don't know if the damage model still works that way, but in the past, you'd see a car going by. All of a sudden, you talk about the green mirrors in the M category and the reds in the Pro. Suddenly it'd be one of the two mirrors that you'd be looking for because the other was gone. But I don't see any yet, as it looks like the 57 of Santinelli's into the pits.
Yep, here he goes. He comes down the pit lane now. He's going to be the second driver, in the Pro category to come into the pits. Pits in from 7th. Now, remember, Hartley, when he came back out on track, I believe he came out 17th overall. He's worked his way up to 16th overall. Also sitting on the pit lane right now, you can see just ahead, is still Greg Mack. And so, Larry, I think he may have taken some damage. Yeah.
If we see him, it'll be after a lot of repair, his crew working on it. But unfortunate for him that his night's going to end that way. Let's keep an eye on Santinelli here in a minute. When he comes out, assuming his pit stop's going to be somewhere in the low 20-second range. And assuming he doesn't take any tires, 23 seconds or so, and he's underway.
And so 23 seconds, about 2 seconds longer in the box than Robert Hartley.
Oh, big spin there, big collision even, and that's Hartley.
And Hartley right ahead of Paul Carey and I think Mike Taylor in the 66 machine.
And the 79 is Parsino. There was a battle going on, and I think Hartley just came up on it at the wrong time, as it looked like the 79 of Parsino may have gone around and give our guys a chance in the booth to maybe queue up a replay for us. But that's unfortunate, because Hartley was thinking all he had to do is get by these guys, and maybe it was going to present himself until suddenly they're across the track and blocking. But I don't see any significant damage.
Yeah,
maybe a little bit of a wrinkle, but he might have lucked out.
Yeah, I don't. Let's take a look at the replay here, Larry. I don't think Hartley actually made contact with the machine ahead, but he did almost have to come to a complete stop.
2 cars up, that's Parsino. He's the one that starts the slide. There's the big. There was contact
there. Yeah, there definitely was contact there with the Carey's machine there, the 141 machine. But yeah, it doesn't look like much damage, doesn't look like much aero, but obviously it slowed his march quite a bit, as he's now coming up on Greg Brockway in the D2D eRacing number 62.
Brockway's going to let him through.
Oh yeah. All right, Larry, let's do this, as we now have on the pit lane David Payton in the 64 machine, David Payne in the 31 machine, and it looks like Payne's taking some tires there. Let's take a quick break, thank some of our sponsors, and when we come back, we'll give you coverage all the way to the checkered flag here for round number 6 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Classic Sprint Series, presented by Performa Texas Elite Graphics, and we'll be right back.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun train for race day, or become a serious esports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com. Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
The search is over. The most comprehensive league scoring solution is here, with the ability for multi-level championships, custom incident tracking, post-race time penalties, support for heats, drop weeks display, multi-car team scoring, advanced web widgets, rookie championships, a custom paint system, and load those results in seconds. Visit extremescoring.info today.
And welcome back to Sonoma Raceway for round number 6 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Classic Sprint Series presented by Texas Elite Performance Texas Elite Graphics. I'm Greg Ginsburg along with Larry Lefty McLeod. And Larry, is we've had a few more drivers drop into the pits. We've been watching not only this battle for the lead between Mike Dam and John Allen, but we were also watching David Payne, who when we went to break, was sitting on the pit lane, and it had been a very adventurous last 2 laps or so for David Payne.
His tires weren't quite ready for a full load as he came out of the pits, literally went up the hill, and as you can see there in the replay, gets to the crest at 2, and the back tires went not warm yet, and around they went, and he was able to continue without contact, but makes that pit stop maybe a 23-second stop, suddenly about a 33-second stop.
Yeah, exactly. Turns out a little bit longer than he expected here as we jump back to this battle for the lead. And we were surmising here during the break that because we haven't seen John Allen, really pressure Mike Dam at all for the lead here. And we haven't seen him, really tossing the car around all that much, that we think that he might be doing a little bit of fuel savings here. The one portion of the course where he does seem to get fairly close is right here at turn number 7, but he seems to have a he goes in for the typically will square that second apex off, and he seems to have far fewer issues with it than Mike Dam does. This section of the course, Mike Dam just has the rear end of the car hanging out all over the place.
I wonder if the Orion setup tonight is a little bit on the loose side, where John's is a little bit more tight, easier to control around some of the undulations here. Although we did see, as we came back from break, John Allen using all of the dirt through the exit of 10 to keep the car in check. But you can see he's basically hovering between 4 and 6 tenths back, not really pressuring. If he's pressuring, he's 2 to 3 tenths. He's really not at this point. And I'm wondering if he's just once in a while, he's just burning laps, but occasionally maybe even doing a little bit of lift brake to try and save a little bit of fuel, thinking that he can undercut him or even overcut him with a shorter pit stop once he decides to come in. Here, just passing the 30-minute stop, they don't really need to yet. Probably still another 15 minutes, or at least a good 10 before they're going to have to pit. But I'm wondering if John Allen's thinking run on fumes and maybe try and be the last one standing and do the shortest pit stop he can. Really, that might be his best chance as he slides the car coming through the crest of 3.
All right, so everything that we said about Mike Dam throwing the car around and John Allen not, the last half lap or so. It's neat to watch the differences in how they attack turn 1 and 2, where you see John Allen turning in much later at turn 1 and making almost a straight line up the hill, but then turning in turning in much earlier at turn 2 at the top of the hill, and Mike Dam just the opposite. And they seem to come out of that complex almost, with a steady gap between them here as we're watching now. Chris Thorman a little bit further back in the pack, and he is this is the battle for third right now, under attack by Travis Schwenke from Orion Racing, Mike Dam's teammate, as well as Brennan Horton a little bit further back in that D2D Racing number 45.
And remember, we had seen Schwenke had the off right at this section of the track here, coming down the S's early in the race that set him back here. He at one point was right on the tail of Dan Allen and his teammate Hartley, but that set him back pretty far. And now he's going to dive to the pits there, track left, going around the long way as it is here at Sonoma for his pit stop. So keep your eye on the pit delta on this. Where does he come out relative to Thorman? Because I'm just kind of seeing as Hartley's about 48 seconds or so behind the leaders. Let's see where Schwenke comes out. Can he make that around a 48-second delta here? And what can he do? Where I suspect he may come out somewhere around the battle of, maybe around the Peyton Brist, somewhere in that range. I think maybe
I was
where
going to say somewhere in the 13th
tires.
or 14th range. Yeah, he is. And when Hartley came out, originally, he found himself in 17th position. But we'll see here as he's still, as Schwenke is still in the pit box. But we've got John Casey, we've got Cloyster, we've got Mike Taylor now coming in. So a few of our AM category drivers hitting in. There is Robert Hartley now in the number 3 machine, and he comes out just behind his teammate Schwenke. And Larry, I'm starting to have flashbacks because actually I think it was the last season, not this season, where we saw, and I think it was at Barber where Hartley and Schwenke, as for a moment there I didn't think either of them were going to get through turn 4, but where Schwenke and Hartley, pardon me, had pitted in at different times, came out on track together, and then worked together to get up to Mike Dam and essentially pulled him into the lead. And speaking of Mike Dam, our now former leader to the number 93 Orion Racing Machine, he comes into the pits for his pit stop. And I guess that the question will be, how much longer can John Allen stay out? Again, we figured that the drivers could get anywhere up to 24, 25 laps, I believe.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he does at least 2, if not 3 more laps. We had seen the first pit stops were around the 15 to 18 minute. That means they should be able to go 40 minutes. Well, that's probably still 3 more laps for John Allen, as it looks again like these Orion guys are liking the left side tire deal. We saw Schwenke do it. Mike Dam now taking the left side tires. But remember, we also just saw Schwenke slide the car through 3 where you need good left side tires. Let's see if Mike Dam is able to avoid that mistake here on the out lap, as that's a pretty good efficient stop for Mike Dam, just about 22 seconds. No one's as quick as Hartley. Now remember, Hartley,
don't think he took tires though.
Hartley did not take tires, so that's part of the other issue. But Hartley then had the incident on track where it cost him about 5 or 6 seconds, which I think is why he was fell to the clutches of Schwenke there when Schwenke came out for his stop. Dam here should probably be about 7 seconds ahead of those 2 guys when things sort out. Good, nice and clean for him up through 3 and 4, as he's a little bit conservative, needs to be with those fresh left side tires. Now the question is, John Allen, where and when does John Allen pit?
Yeah, and we typically see John run the car pretty much until it's on fumes. I mean, he's nothing if not predictable when it comes to pit strategy. I mean, it's very rare that we'll see him.
I can't wait till he watches this on replay and then messages us. What do you mean unpredictable?
What do you mean? What I mean is we've been watching you do it for 3 years. It hasn't changed.
Well, we'll see what he does. You're absolutely right. I think he is going to run this thing down on fumes to see what he can do. I think he had a pretty good strategy if that works for him. Now, Dam came out, as you can see there, 5 seconds ahead of Hartley and Schwenke, so that's where he needs to be. And Dam right now is 42 seconds behind John Allen, so that becomes your pit delta. Bogey as your, I believe, leader in AM.
Indeed. Jeff Cranston comes down the pit lane. The number 97 Craney Customs machine pits in from 4th overall in the lead in AM. Greg Brockway currently running 2nd in AM. He has not taken a pit stop yet, but a number of positions back out on track. Brockway back in 8th overall currently.
Again, taking left side tires there for Mr. Cranston. But he's got time in the bag. He knows he's got about 8 to 10 seconds ahead of his nearest competitor at the time of him pitting. So he knows he's got a little bit of time. He can make this work as long as he keep it clean.
And Larry, it looks like Cranston may come out. Well, I was going to say may come out ahead of Greg Brockway, but Brockway just comes into the pits now as well, pitting in from the lead.
So that means the only one with a chance to take that lap lead in class would have been Steve Daniel, but I just saw Steve Daniel go by start finish, and he will come out just behind Cranston. Daniel still yet to pit. There he is in the familiar Steve Daniel SKKJ Racing colors. See if he can capitalize on having warm tires and hope that maybe Cranston and his cold tires need a lap to get them up and fired up, but I don't know that's going to happen. Typically, by about this point, the tires are starting to feel a little better already.
And as I say, this would probably be the one part of the track where it might be key. And at this point, it really wouldn't mean much for Cranston to let Daniels by, and as long as Daniel doesn't make up a ton of ground there, maybe rather than fighting for a position and risk getting tangled up. But it looks like he's gotten those tires back underneath him already.
Yeah, I think for Steve Daniel, he'd just be chasing any kind of a bonus point or something here. Obviously, he still has to come into the pits. Right. Has he? No, actually, I take that back. I am showing a pit stop for him. I
am as well. This may now be for the. I didn't think he had taken a pit stop either, but don't let him by.
What I'm seeing is Cranston's stop was 27 seconds, almost 28 to Steve Daniels 22, and that is probably the time given up as Steve Daniels struggling coming out of the hairpin there. But yeah, this is totally a nose to tail battle for the lead in AM.
And so what do you think would be, well, I mean, obviously here is Cranston was in the pit lane for, 5 seconds longer than Steve Daniel. I would say, what do you think would contribute to that 5 second longer time? Is that the taking on of tires, and maybe Steve Daniel didn't, as we saw Daniel have some issues there at the hairpin?
We didn't stay on camera that long with him. We did see him taking left sides. If he had also put the right side up, that would take that extra 5 seconds or so. So that could cause it. It also means that he has track position and potentially better tires come the end of the race. He could pull away. Chris Thorman, pitting from second, was running a good solid 4th or 5th in this race here for most of it. So we'll see what he can do on this pit stop. Leaving just 3 cars yet to pit. As looks like Steve Daniel now gets a run through 6, going to try and push Jeff Cranston to the inside going into 7. Cranston with position, but can he outbrake him and hold that line around 7? So tough to pass around here.
And Daniel's going to try the over-under. He's not quite close enough to do it, but I think all that was precipitated on. You saw Cranston go down into the carousel and just could not get the car down to the apex, and just ran very wide through the whole section there, where no doubt he was fighting for grip, but he was also making a much longer run through that section, of course, than Daniels was, as they come down into the hairpin under braking.
Yeah, Cranston may have just dodged a bullet there, making that mistake going into the carousel. Look at the difference in lines even as Cranston turns in a little bit earlier. Steve Daniel trying to get a bit of a later apex. But just watch this little battle. This is fascinating to watch the different lines for these two drivers. And I'm sure they both realize what's at stake here. This is an opportunity to get a lot of points for Cranston. He just needs to collect good points. For Steve Daniel, he needs a good finish in a bad way, as he's got 2 podiums on the season. Sorry, 3 podiums on the season, but he needs to replace a couple of rough finishes. For Cranston, he's got a couple of wins, but as well as a second place at Laguna Seca last time out, but he would like to get another podium finish here. The win not as important, but anytime you can get a win, it's good solid points for you, as leader John Allen is into the pits.
All right, so there you go, the Seamless Racing number 101 machine onto the pit lane. Let's see if he takes some tires as he pits in on lap number 23, getting towards the end of that pit window.
20 minutes left in the race. We'll see if the car goes up. Not seeing it moving yet.
No, and Brendan Horn onto the pit lane now as well.
That should complete the field's pit stops. Nate Parsono, the other one, who had just completed his pit stops. That doesn't do it for everybody. For John Allen, 21.5 seconds. He's back out. Where does he come out relative to the Orion boys? Dam and Hartley and Schwenke, not too far from each other on the track.
And
Where
there you
are they?
go. Right back, there's Mike Dam right behind John Allen coming out of turn 2. So John Allen manages to leapfrog the number 93 machine and take the lead.
Yep, he was about 1 second quicker at his pit stop, mid 21s to mid or high 22s for Dam. So great job for John Allen doing just what he needed to. Now, he didn't take any tires. We were watching him. Will his tires cost him come the end of this race? So he's probably thinking the same thing we've been talking about. How difficult it is to pass around here. Maybe thinking he can get away with some mistakes, but can he hold on for 18 minutes and win this race with a Mike Dam now with the warm tires, looking to see if he can make up that one spot and trying to pressure John Allen. So this will be a fun little cat and mouse game here with 18 minutes left.
All right, and with 18 minutes left as we are watching John Allen in the pit lane, we do have a new AM category leader. Steve Daniel did manage to get around Jeff Cranston and did on the last lap, but you can see here this battle is not finished by any sense of the imagination. Oh, look at
smoke there too,
Yeah, a lot of tire smoke there from Steve Daniel coming down through turn 4.
Yeah, probably caught a little bit of that apex curb and the cars start to bounce. You do want to ride curbs around this place. You find that with these MX-5s in every track. You want to use curbs, but definitely around here through turns, certainly through 3, you can use some curbing at 4. Probably don't want to use it at 7 as those are pretty steep curbs, but you definitely want to. And I think that tire smoke might have been him hopping a curb there at 4 at that apex. But he's got track position. He's got that car now behind him. He needs to do everything he can to be a big, wide Miata and drive it more like a GT3 car than an MX-5.
Exactly.
For Cranston, he doesn't need this, as I talked about in points-wise, he doesn't need the position as desperately as Steve Daniels. Steve needs the win. Cranston just needs more podiums, and he could probably finish out the season that way and maybe have a shot to win the championship. A win helps, but look at this, a little bit of late braking. Before Steve Daniel might have gone too deep. Now Cranston comes up the inside, but that becomes the outside. Now he's got to go the long way. That's the one thing about braking deep there. You can get away with it as long as you get back on the gas, but you probably can't do it too many times because Cranston will find some way to duck across and cut him off on that exit. But this is going to look like this. I wouldn't be surprised if this AM battle looks a lot like our pro class battle here with Dam and Allen is going to look about the same way for these last, we'll call it about 10, 12 laps.
Although, Larry, I think Mike Dam starting to lose a little bit of ground to our leader, John Allen, that last time by almost, I think a couple seconds back. Let's take, not a couple seconds, but a couple tenths. Lost a little bit of ground there. But they are both considering continuing to toss those cars down through the S's.
Well, we saw, how these two had different strengths to each other when they were swapped the other way, how Dam appeared to be maybe a little slower through turn 7s, but maybe quicker through turn 2, and maybe even here through the hairpin. Be interesting now with the shoe on the other foot. Does he continue to find those, or does he fix those mistakes now and get better runs? He gets what looks like a pretty decent run, but he's a half a second back coming off of the hairpin. But watch him go through 2, going up to 3, and see if he's able to close up a little bit.
All right, Larry, looks like we've got the AM battle now on the right-hand side of your screen. We've got that battle for the overall lead on the left, and really heating up once again here between Steve Daniel and Jeff Cranston. And Cranston going down through those S's, just kind of looking for a way through that just is not there, but he's going to come down the inside. And no, does not get deep on the brakes. And look at this, for the not the first time, but one of the only times so far we've seen Steve Daniels adjust that line going down through the hairpin where he stays tight to the inside.
Did a great job there for Daniel. He had seen on the inside a little bit in his mirrors there where Cranston was coming up alongside him. Didn't let him phase him, was able to get a good, nice, and tidy line through the hairpin, because at that point, if you're already on the outside and you can get to the apex of the hairpin, you've got the best run you can get all the way up through turn 2. So good job there. But I tell you, any little mistake, and Cranston's going to jump. But Cranston, we know, he's admitted he's a bit of a conservative driver. He's going to be waiting for mistakes. He's not going to shove his nose in to force one, but he certainly will try and maybe bait Steve Daniel into a bit of a mistake. One of those spots, as always, is down here into this carousel, because we've talked about how downhill and off camber it is. Look at the line difference. Let's see if Daniel's able to hold the tight line and get on the throttle early, or does he let Cranston get a run? I'm seeing a run.
Yeah, I am, and he and as they came out of turn 4 into 5, and Cranston was kind of pushing, leaning on Daniel to move to the inside there, which was going to allow him to open up the end of the corner. And Cranston couldn't get the run that he needed out of turn 7. I mean, that's out of the carousel. That's the one challenge, is that run on the drag strip is still somewhat short in these MX-5s. They just don't have the acceleration. It's very hard to outbrake somebody going into turn number 7. You just have to find a way to carry more speed through the corner.
Yeah, and here he's just trying to force Steve Daniel to take a defensive line to the kink, because if he can, it's slower. But Daniel being smart there, able to get back on his line, knowing there is no pass available. And here they are again, braking. Look at this, a little bit tighter line for Cranston, taking the inside. Is it going to be enough to get the run? He should have used more track, I think.
I was just going to say, Larry, he should have used more track. He gave himself almost a car width and a half to Steve Daniel, and if he'd tracked out maybe just a little bit more closer to Daniel, he might have been able to carry a little bit more speed through the final corners and onto the front straight.
I wonder if Cranston is using a single or a triple screen flats in front of him and not a VR, just a guess. VR, it's easy to peek over there and take a look at how close you are. I can tell you from running just open screens, it's really hard to see how close that gap is to that car next to you in a situation like that where you're coming off of an apex. So that might be part of the issue, is you go to peek over and all you can see is, your living room couch. You can't actually see where the car is over there. But if in VR, maybe he can get a little bit better angle, because the VR is much better at rendering exactly what's next to you.
All right, so once again, Jeff Cranston, he sends Steve Daniels down the very center of the track going into the carousel, but Daniels is able to readjust there and gets a good exit out as Cranston takes 2 wheels into the dirt over the curbing on the exit of the carousel, and maybe loses about a half a car length as they come into turn 7. And now you see Steve Daniels starting to open up that last portion of turn 7. And I think that definitely helps him cover the number 97 car as they come into the S's, as they're coming up on some more slower traffic. We'll see if that plays a part as well. And if we look over on the on the right-hand side of the screen, we see the battle now with our overall leader, John Allen, continuing to hold off Mike Dam. But in the case of both of these races, Larry, we still have about 10 minutes remaining before the checkered flag. Oh, and Steve Daniel loses the rear end of the car coming out of the hairpin, and he is now going to concede the lead in AM to Jeff Cranston, to the number 97 machine.
Yeah, he's lucky he didn't lose a lot more. We've seen probably about 4 or 5 cars tonight lose it with the grip coming off of that hairpin. And for Steve Daniel, very, very lucky to only lose about maybe 7 or 8 car lengths. He'll live to fight another day, but boy, that was close.
It was, and so at least he's still on track, and he has 10 minutes to get back up to Jeff Cranston and battle for the lead in AM. As we jump back to our overall lead, John Allen taking a lot of curbing through turn 8 as they come down through the hill here and come through turn 9, and Mike Dam maybe as close as he's been all race now, and he is just mirroring the 101 machine as they come down under braking into the hairpin.
I think this is where the 28 lap tires are starting to really show their age for John Allen, having not taken any. Now he's really fighting. Keep an eye. Look at that timing ticker there. You've got a Rob Hartley just about 4 seconds back and a Travis Schwenke behind him. Any little side-by-side, anything that's going to slow these two down is going to bring those 2 Orion cars right there up into this mix. honestly, if it's a real team game, Mike Dam wouldn't be too bad. It wouldn't be frowned upon by his team at all. It might be actually applauded for shoving his nose up alongside John Allen a couple of times just to slow the two of them down and allow Hartley and Schwenke to maybe close up and make this a 4-car race.
And
or
so
maybe he doesn't want to.
No, I would say maybe he doesn't want to at this point. You know, we've also talked about, and Larry, and I'm trying to remember if it was our World Challenge race or if it was our pair of races at Laguna Seca, that it seems that Hartley, in many cases, he plays the team game, certainly, and in many cases seems to defer to Mike Dam maybe when he does have an opportunity to attack and doesn't do it. But now Mike Dam coming out of the carousel, got a great run. But John Allen sweeps across his nose into turn 7.
Yeah, let me remind our viewers the point standings. Overall, right now, John Allen is in the lead with 163 points. Second place is actually Hartley with 160. He's 3 points back. Third is Horan. Fourth is Schwenke, currently running fourth in this race. Mike Dam has had some struggles. He's all the way down in 7th place. He didn't run the Suzuka race. He's been 9th and 10th.
And he was disastrous.
Yeah, Laguna Seca just had a terrible night. So he needs a finish. But if you're going to play the team game, he'd really help his teammate out right now by forcing Allen to slow down and maybe giving Hartley a chance to win this race with just about 8 minutes to go. I don't know if he's going to do that. There's the ticker, or the guys are right on that. John really helping us out there with that, showing the graphic that Hartley's been closing up slowly. He's 3.5 seconds or so back. Mike Dam's got to work a little harder to slow this thing down, but if he can and give Hartley a chance to win, that's huge to the points.
And it looks like they're coming up on, I believe it's the 79 of Parsino. They're just ahead. That may play into it. Of course, we've seen that the majority of our drivers really good heads-up driving when the leaders are coming through.
Parsino has been doing that in particular. He's been moving completely offline, allowing other battles to go by. We had seen that with the M class. Here he does it again.
He is again.
Yep. That's a good job there, just to stay out of the way of that battle. As the guy even here on the chat, a good little thanks to him. I think it was John just thanking him, letting them on through, appreciating to not be slowed up by any means.
Wow, look at the drift coming out of the carousel for Mike Dam, and still manages to carry good speed through there, but he keeps taking that look to the inside coming out of the carousel, Larry, and cannot get, you know, if he was able to grab maybe another quarter of a car length, I think he'd be in real good shape going in the 7.
He grabbed a lot of curb coming out of 7 was his problem there. That just cost him about half a second and not really helping his cause. But I'm just watching, keeping my eye on Hartley back there. It may become too little too late. That little incident that he had earlier in this race with the traffic he was trying to pass might ultimately become his demise in this race, take away his chance to win, because he needs about maybe 10 more minutes and he'll be right up here in this battle.
Yeah, you have to wonder, is he sitting, is he sitting, what, about 3.5 seconds or so, or 4 seconds back from our leaders? We thought that he maybe lost about 5 seconds or so in that exchange going down through turn 5. And if he had that back, he'd be right in this battle right now.
Yeah, that's unfortunate considering the points that are on the line here. Like I mentioned, he's 3 points off of John Allen's lead in the championship. Oh, John Allen still sliding that car, catching himself a little bit of dirt there coming off of 2. Boy, it's scary, I'm sure. It's a lot of pressure right now in these guys. And John Allen trying to win another championship here in this Classic Sprint Series. And, oh, no, that's Schwenke, the 16. The other Orion car was 4th. He's going to drop a spot as he looks like he may have gone off in 2.
Off at 2, yeah.
That's gonna give up a spot there to Chris Thorman.
That's gonna give up to Thorman, and perhaps Schwenke might have been able to help push Hartley up towards that battle for the lead, but Hartley's not gonna have his wingman at this point as our leaders come out of the carousel, and once again Mike Dam about a half a car length back. Let's take a look, Larry. I think we've got the replay queued up of Travis Schwenke and his problems over at turn 2. You'll see it over on the right-hand side, or I guess on the center of the screen.
Here as he catches a lot of curb at the apex at 2, and it just sends him all the way to the left side, off back then to the right side. Almost, at least gets a good view of the wall. Didn't quite hit it, but manages to continue, and luckily for him, only losing the 1 spot to Chris Thorman, but he did lose about 11 seconds or so on the track. But as we go back up to our leader battle, nothing's changed other than Hartley trying to get closer and closer. I just don't know that there's going to be enough time. And for Mike Dam, John Allen right now is doing a great job defensively driving a nearly flawless race, not leaving a lot for Mike Dam. Dam's going to have to try something.
Yeah, and for a moment there, going into the hairpin, Dam, I don't know if he just ran a little bit late on the brakes there. Almost got to the rear bumper of Allen in the hairpin. Could have turned to tears for both of them, and Dam just pushed a little bit wide on exit, was able to straighten up the corner, but lost a lot of momentum. But now Mike Dam taking a look to the inside as they come out of turn 3A, drop down into turn number 4, not quite close enough.
He's going to have to try a few more things like that. This is one of those opportunities here at 6 at the carousel. If he could just sort of shove his nose down inside or outside, doesn't need to make the pass, just needs to get John Allen off of his line just for a moment. and right now, Allen using every inch of that track. You can see all the way to the outside. Dam, see if he shoves his nose in there to flash to the inside. He is. He's
close enough, Larry. He's going to push John Allen out to the outside just a little bit there, and they're going to go side by side in through 7A. But John Allen, he's got the inside move going into 8, and he manages to, for the moment, to hold off the 93 machine.
Oh, I thought that was going to be it. He had the inside, just couldn't quite get on the gas. Gave him enough room. They wanted to race fair, and for John Allen, able to get on the gas a little bit stronger and hold that line. But there was definitely a moment to hold your breath if you're John Allen.
And as they come out behind the drag tower, Larry, is Mike Dam close enough to try and outbreak the 101 machine into the hairpin?
Not this time through, but John Allen may have outbroke himself with those old tires. Is this going to be enough?
And here they come as they come out of the hairpin, out of 11, go into 12. Dam's going to have to run a little bit wider. There they are side by side as they come across the line with just 2 minutes remaining. And Larry, I believe we're on the penultimate lap, 2 laps to go here at Sonoma. John Allen holds off the 93 car and leads up the hill going in through turn 2. Wow.
So that's 2 opportunities now where he's been alongside, not able to make it stick. Hartley not really gaining enough. He's still 3 seconds back. Only picked up a second through all of that side-by-side. Half second seems like per for Mike Dam. Had it there on the inside at 7. Had it again at the inside at 11, but didn't use enough track space. Again, it looks like he allowed John Allen to run the short distance around the whole turn 1 complex, holding on to that lead. One more of those is all Mike Dam needs, I think, and he's going to have a chance. You know, maybe the 3rd time's a charm. But as you said, we're a lap and a half. This thing being over, John Allen may not even take a breath for that lap and a half. I don't know. I won't.
No, he may not. And so Mike Dam running a little bit wide on exit, loses maybe a half a car length compared to where he was a lap ago. Now a full car length back as they come through turn 7. And again, that has been a trouble spot for Mike Dam, but it looks like he gets through there fairly clean. He's grabbing all the curbing at turn 8. And John Allen, I don't think he's going to have a lot of time to breathe or to think as he comes down and through the kink over at turn 10 and sets up once again for the hairpin. Now he went deep. Maybe he was looking in the mirrors that last time by Larry, but he's got some breathing room now.
Exactly, yes. He knows he made this mistake before, which means he's more likely to go conservative this time and not get the same run. Mike Dam not able to get the power down, almost does one of those power slides like we just saw Steve Daniel do. For Mike Dam, that's not what he needed. He needed a better run than that. So now we start the final lap. White flag is flying. He's going to have to do it somewhere. I suspect it might either have to be a dive bomb into the carousel or maybe a dive bomb into 7 or into 11. But I don't think he's got many other options here if he wants to win this race.
No, the options are slowly or quickly disappearing here as they come up the hill, over the crest, drop down, down towards turn 4. And a little bit later on the brakes for Mike Dam, gets back up to the right up to the bumper of the 101 machine. Hartley's there kind of stalking in the background, but he's still a long way off here with just a half a lap remaining as they come into the carousel. And John Allen gets pushed wide on exit. He gets it down to the apex. However, let's take a look at the exit here where Dam has been stronger for 3 of the last 4 laps.
Dam threw it into the entry at 6. Can he make the line and get any kind of thing here at 7? He's just filling the mirrors with all the Mazda that he can. He's going to get a run down here through the S's. I don't know if it's going to be enough. to make any kind of a push before they get to the kink. He needs a perfect kink and an inside line to go side by side at 11, or I don't think he's going to have a chance. But we know what happened just 2 laps ago. We watched John Allen get a drag race, but I believe when they crossed the stripe, it was Dam ahead. So can Dam do it again? That might be his only chance.
And here we go as they come through the kink and set up. We've seen John Allen go wide twice before.
Like
make it 3 times as they come now down under braking into the hairpin.
Oh no!
And Dam runs so deep. And Mike Dam on the very last lap, he's got the drift. He may give up second position to his teammate Robert Hartley, but John Allen, biggest lead of the day, 3 car lengths as he comes out of turn 12, is going to cross the stripe and take the win. John Allen from Seamless Racing is your winner at Sonoma. Mike Dam, he's going to finish second. Robert Hartley will come home in third.
Wow, what a finish. As we've got the other finish, this is the end lead still. As we had seen Steve Daniel earlier, had that slide, not able to close it all the way up. Cranston now with a half a lap to go. He's got about a 1.5 second lead, just needs to get through these final 4 corners.
All right, so Chris Thorman comes home 4th overall, Schwenke 5th. Brennan Horn, he should be crossing the, well, Horn there going up into the hairpin now. If he can hold on, he'll come home in 6th. But here is the battle for the win in the AM category. Jeffrey Cranston in the 97 Craney Customs machine. He clears the hairpin, only 1 more corner to go, and he is going to take the win in AM, finishes 7th overall. Steve Daniel going to come home in 2nd in AM, finishes 8th. And Mike Taylor we'll have to see here. We've got him coming out right behind his Frito Sport Racing teammate, Edgar Sanchinelli. Mike Taylor is going to take the last step on the podium in the AM category. He is going to round out the top 10, finishing 3rd in AM.
Couple of great races again tonight. I tell you, we were all worried about Sonoma not being able to pass. It was a challenge. We did see some passing, but it also meant some great racing there.
Great racing.
And for John Allen, he's going to be one sweaty, tired man tonight, able to hold off those 2 Orion cars right there. Unbelievable finish. Mike Dam sent it as hard as he could into that final corner, not able to take the position. But boy, what a finish by those 3 guys there.
Yeah, spectacular racing, Larry. Great racing. Let's do this. Let's take a quick break. We're going to thank some of our sponsors, and when we come back, we're going to talk to some of our podium finishers here from Sonoma, where you have just seen the checkered flag come out. You've just seen the finish of round number 6 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Classic Sprint Series, presented by Performance Texas Elite Graphics, and we'll be right back.
Extreme Scoring to do the work for you.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious esports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
Search is over. The most comprehensive league scoring solution is here, with the ability for multi-level championships, custom incident tracking, post-race time penalties, support for heats, drop weeks display, multi-car team scoring, advanced web widgets, rookie championships, a custom paint system, and load those results in seconds. Visit extremescoring.info today.
And we're back here at Sonoma Raceway, where we've just witnessed round number 6 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Classic Sprint Series, presented by Performa Texas Elite Graphics. I'm Greg Ginsberg, along with Larry Lefty McLeod. And let's take a look again at that final finishing order as John Allen from Seamless Racing takes the win. Margin of victory, 92 hundredths of a second over Mike Dam, and it was a heck of a lot closer than that, going down into the hairpin for the very last time. Jeff Cranston takes the win in the AM category, finishing up 7th overall over Steve Daniel. So, Larry, I think we've got some of our podium finishers sitting in the green room, and actually we've got our top 2 finishers in the AM category. Why don't we do this? Why don't we first bring in Steve Daniel, driver of the number 96 SKKJ Racing Mazda MX-5. He finished 2nd tonight in AM.
All right, Steve Daniel here, finishing a great race tonight, finishing 2nd in the AM category. Steve, we were sitting there watching, and as Cranston comes out of the pits for his stop, right in front of you guys put on a huge battle for us. Walk me through a little bit of that side-by-side you have with Cranston.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I was just talking to him. I was surprised he was right there when I came out of the pits, and definitely a good battle, but wasn't able to quite, tires weren't quite there, and I just couldn't keep up with them the whole way, but it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, for a moment there you had him, and then I think, was it coming out of the hairpin, a little bit of what we saw a couple of times tonight, oversteered, like suddenly the Miatas had 400 horsepower or something. Everybody was doing the same thing. Is it just the way the cars are, just a little loose coming out of the hairpin?
I have no idea, because that's the only time it happened to me, and it had to be right when Jeff was behind me, so.
Oh, yeah, it's one of those, like somebody just put out the oil slick mod on you, and around you went, but still able to come in 2nd at this very tough track, tough to pass, very difficult track to run, but a great job for you tonight, finishing up on the podium. Anybody you want to give any special thanks to tonight?
Yeah, the usual. Just appreciate all the people who support this this league and the channel, and you guys for all the broadcasts. So a lot of fun.
Well, thank you, and congrats again. 2nd place finish tonight for Steve Daniel in the AM category.
All right, there you go. Thanks so much to Steve Daniel. Let's bring in Jeff Cranston now. Jeff, driver of the number 97 Craney Customs Mazda MX-5, taking the win tonight in AM.
So, Jeff, tonight, getting the win, it was definitely not easy. You had a couple of battles. Early on, we thought, well, maybe you're going to just kind of pull away from the field, but suddenly you come out of the pits right next to Steve Daniel. Tell me a little bit about the last closing segments of that race.
Yeah, after last round, running out of fuel, I just didn't want to take any chances. So, didn't think it'd hinder me that much, but yeah, apparently it did, but it put me in a fun battle with Steve.
Yeah, a heck of a battle there. Is you guys came out, swapped positions a little bit, but you managed to hang on. But what is it about this place that seems to put together a lot of side-by-sides, but passing is so difficult?
Definitely. This track, it'll bite you. That curbing's slippery. It'll get the rear end out on you, so you really got to hit your marks, be easy on the throttle. And kind of, take advantage of others' mistakes. That seems to be where I make my best moves and vice versa.
Yeah, well, tonight you did a great job of that. Managed to stay ahead of that field and get that much-needed victory. And we'll have to see what the points look like when they get added up. They may or may not be updated. But there's a good chance you might find yourself in first place again here in the AM category. So great job tonight, getting the win for the Craney Customs team. Anybody else you want to give a big thanks to tonight?
As always, you guys up in the broadcast booth and the Extreme Motorsports League. Having a blast here. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Well, congrats on the win there, Jeff, and we'll see you again in a couple weeks.
All right, there you go. Jeffrey Cranston from Craney Customs, and Larry, that leaves us right now with one more person hanging around the green room. That is John Allen, driver of the number 101 Seamless Racing Mazda MX-5, took the win tonight here at Sonoma.
John Allen, oh boy, are you out of breath as much as we are from calling that race?
I definitely sweaty. I got my breath back now, though, thankfully. If I had been the first to go, you probably would have heard me panting.
That was pretty intense. You're the last one to go into the pits. I don't believe you took tires, so maybe thinking track position was important, and maybe it was. So Was that part of the plan? Was to just to hang on and hope nobody can get by?
Yeah. I mean, you're on the throttle so long in several places here. It feels like it should be easier to pass, but they're not straightaways, and it just doesn't work out that way. So after trying to learn where I might, I just didn't have a lot of options, and the only thing I could do was learn how Mike was driving. And there were a couple places, 3 in fact, he would kind of drop down a gear versus what I was doing, and the time difference was negligible as long as I had his draft, but I felt like he was being really hard on his tires, so I knew he would probably have to take some. I opted not to, and that did earn me the track position. It almost didn't hold out, but it became the right move, because then he was dealing with what I did for the first half, which is finding some place out of, you know, the 1 or 2 options he might have had.
Well, in the last 3 or 4 laps, and maybe the last 2 laps, you guys were side by side at 7 one time, and again, even coming off the hairpin at the last corner at 11. Are you just able to, with the fresher tires, put the power down in those 2 corners in particular? Did that turn out to be, I mean, it didn't really seem to help him, but are you just able to hold that line and carry that momentum?
Basically, yeah. It was very counterintuitive to stay on the outside the 2 or 3 times that he had hairpin runs on either end of the track, but the only way I could negate his 2 new tires worth of traction over my no tires was to give myself a wider radius and open the wheel sooner to get the power down. And boy, once it almost didn't work. At one time out of 11, he nearly had the overlap into 1, but and I think he worked so hard getting that there wasn't much left to try.
Yeah, heck of a battle. You guys really showed respectful side-by-side racing. I don't believe there's any contact. We didn't see any between you guys. It just shows you how hard and how clean that racing was. It just doesn't get any better than this. And for John, I think this is your 3rd win this season. So starting to really add them up here as we wind down the last couple of races. So the points are getting into your favor. So congrats on the win tonight. Who do you want to give a thanks to for this one?
Well, I'm glad to be, I guess the real world racing family is being wrapped up, you know, for the season. It gets colder here in Ohio, and we don't run to Sebring or the southern warmer places. So there's always a definitive cutoff for me, and you can tell on the sim side, I'm able to focus on it more. The winter series are always more productive for me in the sim stuff, because they're not, you know, split attention between real world and sim. So hence the sweat and hence the fun and struggling hard to keep Mike behind me instead of hanging on to his tail.
Yeah, just incredible racing tonight. Another victory here for you. Congrats on that one, John, and a couple more weeks, see if you can hang on to this thing. So congrats for the win tonight.
Thanks, guys.
All right, there you go. John Allen, your winner tonight, driver of the number 101 Seamless Racing Machine. And so, guys, I think we've got one more choice here to make. We've got Mike Dam sitting in the green room. Would we like to talk to Mike?
Sure, let's talk to Mike for a minute.
All right. Yeah, I think it would be a good idea to talk to him before we have our next round at CTMP.
So Mike Dam, you led about half of this, maybe even 2/3 of this race tonight, and it's just one of those places, it's so tough to pass. It looked like you sent it everywhere you could, as cleanly as you could. Tell me about how the struggle it is to try and get side by side and ahead of somebody here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's been a while. It was a good one for sure. Honestly, it was a handful just like trying to run laps around here. This thing is insanely loose. Drifting everywhere. But yeah, I was really unfortunate. I was really trying to get out of the pits in front of John. I knew it was going to be really tough, and I knew he was saving fuel behind me early stint. So I tried to, I pit 5 laps early. Tried to, get the fresh rubber on the ground and turn some laps in it. It almost worked. I think my pit stop was a little slow, so I'm blaming my pit crew.
It was close. It was about a second slower, which might have been the difference there. Yeah. But it's the laps are winding down. A couple of times, turn 7, you had a chance. Turn 11 there, I think on the second or lap to the end there. It's just so hard to hold that position. But I got to say, at any time were you thinking, my teammate Rob behind me could really use the points. Did you at all think, let's bring Rob into this? Or were you just thinking, I need the points more than him. Let me have a chance to win?
I was thinking win. I'm not gonna lie, but yeah, I would have liked to have him, in the battle as well. I was just mostly just trying to. I think I tried about every passing zone on the track, and it wasn't working. So every spot that you had a chance and I could get alongside, I think along the start-finish straight, I was actually pretty well alongside. I couldn't quite clear him to get over and take the inside. So really tough, really good driving by John. He deserves it. He's just kind of running away now. So
yeah, you guys just had a fantastic race. As we're talking, we've got the slow-mo of you guys at that second to last lap coming off of the hairpin all the way down the front straight into 2. And it's all in slow-mo, and it looks like a drifting battle because it's just the 2 cars in sync, just the tails leading the nose all the way around. It just looked like such a handful for an hour to put on that kind of display, and to not make any contact that we could see was just impressive. That you guys had such a great battle, first with you leading him, and at the end him leading you. But in the end, just beautiful stuff to watch. And I gotta say, you guys really put on a good show and gave it your all for sure.
Thank you. Yeah, I felt lucky to even be there because first lap I was full lock out of that that far side of the track there. So
yeah, just sometimes that you can throw it all the way at the beginning and not be there, but if you can hang on to it, maybe it comes to you in the end. But able to put it up there on the podium, second place finish for you, one of your best finishes of the season. It's been a bit of a rough one, so this is definitely a good one to get into the books here as we start to wind down the season. But for Mike, congrats, second spot here on the podium. Anybody you want to thank for tonight?
Yeah, just all the guys in the league, the admins, Kevin and Jeff, putting it on. My teammates, Ryan Race Team, everybody involved in that. And you guys, thanks for broadcasting.
Well, congrats, Mike, on another second place podium finish. And boy, this is winding up to be a good season for you. So congrats. We'll see you in a couple weeks.
Thanks, guys.
All right, there you go. Mike Dam from Orion Racing finishing second tonight here at Sonoma Raceway. And Larry, you said it. We've got the point standings all tabulated here after round number 6. Let's take a look at where we stand here as Jeffrey Cranston. We'll start off with where Jeff Cranston moves from third in the championship up into the lead. He now has a 13-point advantage over Steve Daniel and SKKJ Racing. Mike Taylor, who coming into the evening was your points leader, now finds himself third in the M category championship. And over in pro, John Allen, you heard it from Mike Dam, he's just starting to walk away now with 146 points. He's got a 9-point advantage over Robert Hartley here in the pro championship. Running Horn holding on tight, holding on strong to third in the championship. The D2D E-Racing entry now 19 points back from Hartley, 28 out of the lead. Schwenke just sitting in fourth, and Mike Dam, Orion Racing teammate, sitting in fifth. All right, so let's go and start to wrap things up here, Larry. And let's before we go and take a look at the schedule coming up, I wanted to remind everybody that if they liked what they saw here tonight, please give us a big thumbs up. And if you haven't already subscribed to Apex Racing TV on YouTube, please do that now and click on that notification bell so you can find out about all the times that we go live around the world, around the clock, with great virtual motorsports action. And so let's take a look now at the schedule coming up next week. Next Monday night, November 14th, the Ricmotech World Challenge returns for round number 5. We're going to be at the Hockenheim Ring for 75 minutes of GT3 and TCR action. And then the Classic Sprint Series will return in 2 weeks for rounds 7 and 8. We're going to have, again, the twin 30-minute races with an inverted start. For our second race, we're going to be at Mike Dam's Dam's backyard. Going to be a Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, Mosport, for those 2 races. And then of course, our third series. It is the Ricmotech Sports Car Series. It returns in January. Can't tell you where, can't tell you what date yet, but our GT4 drivers and TCR drivers will be taken to the track for that great series. You don't want to miss it. You want to join us. So for Larry McLeod next to me here in the booth, and for the Johns, for John Grabowski and John Robertson, I'm Greg Ginsburg. We'll see you next Monday night from the Hockenheim Ring. Have a great week, everybody.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, ricmotech.com.